We have 2 dogs, or 3 dogs. We have 3 dogs. The youngest is kind of the peacemaker in the crowd. When the old guy, who is grump at this point in time in his life, I've been around enough, I don't need to put up with all this stuff, and goes after the middle dog, who's deaf and can't hear what's going on. So when the older dog is grumpy and growly and snarly, the middle dog can't hear it. And so the older dog just escalates because why isn't he paying attention to me? And then the youngest one tries to bring peace, and she'll go over to the old guy and try to calm him down. And you know, you don't need to be doing this. So at times our household gets around the dogs gets a little chaotic. How many of you are only children? Who's an only child here? Oh, see, only child don't count in this because there was nobody to fight with or get in trouble with. On the other hand, only children have the problem that if something happened in the house, it had to be them. They couldn't blame it on anybody else, could they? There was nobody else to blame it on. The rest of us had brothers and sisters. Everybody have brothers and sisters then? Who? Oh, Reagan. How many brothers and sisters, Reagan?
3.
Oh. And are you the oldest?
Yes.
No, you're not the oldest. Do you wish you were the oldest? Yes, of course. Okay. What's the problem with having brothers and sisters? What's the problem with having brothers and sisters? Yes, Reagan.
Probably them yelling, and it's really hard.
It's really hard because they want to cause what?
Trouble.
They want to cause chaos, don't they? They want to cause trouble. They want to cause trouble. How many of you have taken a trip with 3 or 4 kids in the car? Yeah. As parents or grandparents, when you take a trip with 3 or 4 kids in the car, is that a pleasant experience? No. No. Why? What goes on? Mom, he's looking at me. Mom, she's trying to touch me. Mom, she won't stay on her side. Mom, Dad. Until finally one of the parents says, if you don't settle down, I'm going to pull over here and we're going to sit here until you settle down. We're never taking a trip again. My wife's a part of a family of 5. It goes back to the days of station wagons where 2 or 3 were always in the back of the station wagon rolling around long before seatbelts, and they were just tumbled around like beans in the back of the station wagon. And the other ones were in the seats, and it was constant, she reports, constant conflict in the car. Somebody was always touching somebody was always doing this, somebody was always doing that, to the point where her mother took duct tape and taped off sections of the seats. That's your section, that's your section, that's your section. You stay in your sections and you don't move. But that still left the 2 brothers, who were the youngest, rumbling around in the back, who could then have access to all the 3 girls who were sitting in front of them. Who was it that you turned to in the midst of chaos in your house if you had brothers and sisters? Who do you go to when the chaos... Reagan, who do you go to? Your mom. Mom gets drug in, doesn't she? Yeah, mom gets drug in. Usually moms got drug in, although dads did too. My way of dealing with it was a little different than their mother's way of dealing with it. You could ask Jennifer that, my daughter, about how I dealt with it when she and her sister got into chaotic moments. We need somebody to go to in the midst of chaos. It's one thing if you can go to mom or dad in the midst of chaos, if you're a kid, to settle it. But who do you go to if you're an adult in the midst of chaos? That's what the disciples were wondering. That's what the apostles. Jesus, if what you say is true, if the future is going to be as chaotic as you picture, if these buildings that seem permanent because the stones are so huge that it's going to be knocked down, where do we find comfort in the midst of chaos? Where do we find comfort in the midst of chaos? For some people, in the hurricane that hit Florida and then moved on up into the Carolinas and destroyed so much in the area where we used to live, chaos came from federal agencies. Chaos came from Lutheran disaster response. First, the Lutheran disaster response that you contribute to and share funds with and so forth, when you make a contribution to them, you know for sure that they will be the last one out when chaos is struck somewhere. They're always the last group to leave. Long after the federal government is gone and the Red Cross is gone, Lutheran disaster response is still there in the midst of chaos to make a difference. That's because we understand that in the midst of chaos, who is with us? When our life cannot get any more chaotic than we can possibly imagine, who is with us? When mom can't answer the questions anymore and settle the situation down, who is it that is with us? It is God who is with us. It is God who shelters us. It is God who protects us. It is God who loves us. It is God who pours self out on our behalf to continue to give us hope, to continue to give us reassurance. When we think it can't possibly get any worse, it is his Son who dies on the cross and takes us with him to an eternal kingdom. Brothers and sisters of Jesus, you are one with God, as Jesus is one with God and one with you. So you are one with the ultimate source of comfort in the midst of chaos. Amen.